beat in the red and it's up in our head. Imaginary last beat in the red and it's up.
You are listening to Citizens AM, KCAM Digital Radio. Your voice for a better world.
And welcome to another episode of Profiles in Music. Happy Friday, everyone. How are you doing? You on your way home from work here in the West Coast, or are you already home over there on the East Coast? Well, I hope you're sitting down and ready to enjoy some music. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce an extraordinary artist. He is known as Jon Mullane. Of course, you know him. You know him. This man is more than just a musician. He is an international sensation, literally a true force to be reckoned with in the world of music. With countless accolades to his name, including prestigious awards and a notable presence, mind you, on the Billboard charts, Jon Mullane has carved the path to success. We're going to be right back. Sorry about that, folks. Someone in the mixing room apparently got a little mixed up. See what I did there? Originally from the picturesque seaside town of Mahone Bay, nestled in the heart of Nova Scotia, Jon Mullane's journey has taken him far and wide. His music has resonated across borders, capturing the hearts of listeners, no doubt, worldwide. And it's no wonder his songs have become a staple on commercial and satellite radio stations, saturating the airwaves with his infectious melodies. But it doesn't stop there. Jon Mullane's talent has transcended the boundaries of the music industry, finding its way into the very fabric of popular culture. His tracks have found a home in countless television shows, films, and commercials, adding depth and emotion to visual storytelling. And if that's not quite enough, his electrifying performances have garnered the stages of international sporting events, where his music has become the anthem of champions. Now, what I think truly sets Jon Mullane apart in all of this is his unwavering passion for his craft and his desire to inspire. With every note he strikes, every lyric he sings, you can feel the raw emotion pouring out of him. He is an artist who definitely wears his heart on his sleeve, pouring every ounce of his authenticity into his music. And it's this authenticity that creates an unbreakable bond, I think, between Jon and his fans. So in just a moment, I want us to celebrate this remarkable artist who embodies the very essence of what it means to be a true artist. Jon is a musical force to be reckoned with, a beacon of talent in a sea of, in my opinion, mediocrity. Through his dedication and unbridled passion, he has etched his name into the annals of music history. And with each new song, he continues to connect with his fans, igniting a fire within their souls that can only be fueled by the genuine artistry of somebody just like Jon. And Jon is going to join us in just a moment. We'll be right back. And joining me now is the artist himself. Please welcome Jon Mullane.
Hi, Sean. Hi, Sean.
Hi, I'm so glad. Did I butcher your name? Did I get your name right?
Yes, you did. I mean, it's Mullane. Some people say Mullane, but really it's Mullane. In Ireland, they say Mullane.
Well, maybe someone from Ireland is listening. So
Yeah.
I meant every word of what I said in my opening. You are a true inspiration Your music, I think, transcends boundaries in a way that very few artists have been able to pull off. And I understand that you're a bit of a late bloomer in terms of the industry. And I just, can you kind of, I'm sure there's a fascinating story there, and I'd love to hear it.
Sure. I mean, we have time? I guess it's not like a quick answer. I'll try to. Well, when I started playing music, I found this band. I moved to this area in Halifax, Nova Scotia, where I'm originally from, and I was a sport kid, so I didn't play any music. But this rock and roll band was practicing in this old barn, and it just ignited my fire to want to play and perform music. But I was around 12 years old. It wasn't until I was really in my late 20s that I started seriously writing songs and thinking about releasing music. I played in cover bands and did the bar circuit, often playing 7 nights a week till 3:30 in the morning. Yeah. And I look at that as a very positive experience because it's really helped me understand songs and performance. And it was a great training ground. But again, late into the original, where like these days, people they get a computer and an interface and a microphone, and they're releasing albums a month later. It took me a long time.
Every day.
Yeah, and I mean those are the days when you had to, studios were expensive. You had to go into a big studio to actually get decent sound. So I started writing and performing, and kind of was a local radio station talent contest led to me performing my first original gig in front of about 15,000 people. And, wow. And so, yeah, it was really, luckily I had the experience of performing, but it was eye-opening. And, went through a lot of, I was always, it is true what you said. I have been true to myself. I haven't followed trends as much. I've always tried to stay true to the melody and the lyrics and what I felt I want to get out there. And that may be not even a deep thing. It may just be the fact that I want people to feel happy when they listen to a song. It may not have a deep meaning, although I have songs like that as well. So I kind of didn't really jump on any trends. So I was sort of up and down. I'd have some charting on a radio song, and then a few years later, grunge came in, and what I was doing was completely irrelevant in the music industry. And I just went through a lot of those types of ups and downs, which looking back in retrospect, having the experience is normal for I think most careers. If you're in it for long enough, even if you're a top artist like a band like U2 or something, they have their peaks and valleys too. So it's been a really, really interesting experience and a journey. And I think I learned to realize too, after 10 years in the business or so, of realizing that it is a journey. It's not just thinking about the prize at the end or whatever that may be, whatever you think it may be in your head when you're an adolescent. It's trying to enjoy the journey along the way. And I include moments like this, talking with you. I always enjoy this type of thing and try to engage in it as much as I can. No radio station is too small to play my music. Nothing is too big. I try to put my heart into it, and I think that's the key.
Well, I love artists like yourself who, there's a lot of artists who will kind of talk the talk, but you're actually somebody who is authentic in the sense of really wanting to help people. I really want to talk to you, well, maybe we can do that now, about the organizations that you work with and the mission behind. It's incredible to see an artist such as yourself use their music to effectuate change, because I like to say that music is the soundtrack to change. And in a lot of ways, music propels change.
Yeah.
And so you're working with 2 organizations. Tell us a little bit about that and what the mission of that is.
I think you're referring to the campaign to change direction and give an hour. Is
yes.
that what we're talking about? Yeah. And that's the American, those are 2 American associations involved in mental health, promotion of mental health and emotional health and supporting that. And I've been, so the backstory is I I don't tell this to a lot of people, but I think it's important now. And you can tell people, like, I had a very bad anxiety disorder for years. I was bullied in school, and my father died early in life, and you never really know the cause. But the bottom line is I was always the odd person out. Like, people at one time, the whole school was like teasing me about whatever it would be, and it issues. I think, like most people, and when it first started happening to me, it was like, you couldn't talk about having anxiety attacks or anything like that. That was like, what? You're crazy. Right. So I've made it my mission at some point in my career to associate myself and involve myself with really good organizations that help promote the awareness. It really is an awareness of mental health challenges, emotional health challenges. And so the Campaign to Change Direction, I think, is a really, really good association. They really are a teaching. They teach people about acceptance of these type of conditions, and they provide resources on how you can get help. Give an Hour is more focused on veterans, which is fantastic too. That's very, very important. Right. So I think it was around 2015 or so that I started working with them a little bit and became a musical partner. And I've done a couple of things with them in terms of some performances. During the pandemic, ironically, when we needed these type of resources the most, we were all shut down. So there was no live events going on. There was nothing like that. But it's coming back now. And I'm very, very proud to be involved with them and help any way I can to promote the awareness and spread the word about it's okay to not feel good. Whether it's a broken arm or just if your mind is like not feeling so good, you've got anxiety or depression. That's okay. I mean, and I think getting that message out is really, really important.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned being bullied in school, because I was the same way. I was the odd duck out, made fun of all the time. And I mean, I suffer from mental health disorders right now because of that. I mean, I don't think people understand the magnitude that has, especially on a young person.
Oh, it's so true. I think we're so early on, we're shaped.
Yes.
We don't know it at the time, but these early experiences really shape us and can wound us, and last a long time. And even physically, like, I see you have curly hair. Well, I have curly hair too. And I used to brush it out because I feel more like the other kids, because they would make fun of my mother would hair, do that too. Like stupid things like that. Yeah. So it's like, it's now, I think we live in a world now which much more acceptance of all kinds of different, things with people and conditions and whatever. But I think at that time it was like, kids would bully other kids, and the ramifications of that now we didn't know at that time, but it can be lifelong. It really can be.
Well, right, because you don't feel comfortable in your own body anymore, and I mean, I'm very self-conscious in crowds. I'm worried, like, if I go into a restaurant, are people looking at me? I mean, and that just stuff lingers in your mind. And funny enough, I think that I've met a lot of people, obviously there's like not support groups per se, but people like us tend to meet other people like us, right? And I found that there's so much creativity among us. I mean, for me, it was screenwriting. I'm not musically talented, unfortunately, but so many artists come from that kind of a struggle, that kind of a background. I almost think that it makes sense especially with your type of music, that of course there's a mental health aspect to that, because that's where I think a lot of the inspiration comes from. I mean, you can't get the types of lyrics that you come from, I think, without going through something. I just don't think it's possible.
No, you're totally 100% right. And it was shocking to me, because when I first experienced this, I say, no one was talking about it. No one was acknowledging it. It was like almost like a weakness if you said, I feel anxiety, but since it's become more there's been more acceptance to these types of issues. There are so many people in the entertainment business like we're all a bunch of neurotics in a sense. And I mean, I mean that with fondness. I mean, I guess we're a little more sensitive, you know? Yeah, like we have a sensitivity to be able to create, whether it be screenplays or films or music or whatever. And I think you need a bit more of a sensitivity, and you see the world maybe in a little bit different way, you know? And that also allows for other things to happen to you. It's amazing to me how many people have come out in the last 5-10 years who say, yeah, I've had this problem. A lot of people self-medicate with drugs and alcohol. Thank goodness for me, I never drank, and I never smoked, I never did drugs. So, you know, I was spared that, but a lot of people, unfortunately, kind of get on substances and becomes a real problem in our industry, our creative industry. So, you know, it's very important to get out there and talk about
and
it.
Suicides as well. I mean,
Totally.
that's a huge thing in the entertainment industry. I mean,
it really is. It's shocking to me, actually. You know, still when I hear about these things, you think very successful people too. You know, very successful singers and songwriters kill themselves, and it's like there's probably a lot of elements to that. It's not just one thing, but the point is they did it, and we need to find out why, and we need to kind of address that. And it really is rampant in our industry. And when I say our industry, I mean all the creative industries as a complete thing. You know,
I mean, look at Robin Williams, for instance. I mean, you know, this comic genius. You never would have thought that man suffered from any kind of mental health issues or depression. And that's what I like to tell people, is that you really see how much of a mask that you do put on, and that mask is provided by being creative, right? I mean, being able to jump into a different character, being able to get on stage and be comedic, even though you're insecure and you're dealing with issues. It's a release, really. It's almost like a sense of self-medication, doing that, you know, getting up and being creative. And I think that's probably where you're coming from too with your music.
Well, that's exactly right. And as I say, I think it was a little bit later on in my career. There were some songs that were popping out that I had definitely references to this sort of thing. But a little later in my career, when social media really came on, and I was on Facebook, and I had this Facebook friend, and I saw something. It was a very beautiful girl, but she said, I wish people would love me or like me for who I am and not what I look like. And I was like, holy mackerel, what a statement that is. And I just thought of, like, you know, all the experiences I had as, you know, kind of the same sort of thing, but in a different way. So I wrote this song called Born Beautiful. And the main meaning is we're all born beautiful. We all have beautiful traits. We may not be all physically beautiful, but there's something about every person that is really beautiful. And we have to embrace that. And that song kind of became, you know, I don't know what you want to say, but a lot of the mental health associations that I work with, that they kind of team with that song, because it's very much not an anthem, but you know what I mean, like a representation for getting that word out to people who need to hear it. Because how many times have you been told that, you know, recently, you know, that you're beautiful, you're got a beautiful soul. And I think we need to kind of do that more, to, you know, compliment people, and just things that, you know, have, you know, enjoy your day and have a nice day, be nice to people. But that song really is
even just smiling at a stranger that you see.
Yeah,
you know, just giving a smile. I mean, that could change someone's day. You just don't know what people are dealing with in their lives. And
I think it takes some, like the experiences you and I have had, and so many other, to realize that, to understand that, and that's what makes that happen. So, in a sense, it's the silver lining. It makes us more aware, and it makes us more likely to do those types of things for other people.
And that's why I love artists like you. I mean, I don't have any kind of psychic talent here, but when I heard your song, what was it? Summertime.
Sun in the Summertime.
So, yeah, there's something about that song, and I just said, you know, there's something going on with this artist. I want to learn more. That song really reached me, and then I listened to your other tracks, and very moved. Very moved.
Well,
very,
you know,
very impressed.
Thank you. That's really interesting because "Sun in the Summertime" is a song. It's a classic summer anthem type song. Something I always wanted to
Yes.
write. I was a big fan of the Beach Boys and
There's a lot of
all
hints
that
of
stuff. But
that.
I never wanted to sound like them. They just influenced me a lot. But after the yeah, and after the pandemic, I thought, geez, I don't really feel inspired to write a very serious song. But if I could write a song that would make people feel good, a very simple song, which that is, it's deeper than it really is. Because if you look at the lyrics and the sound,
Yeah.
it's very. It seems like it's superficial, but it's not. It really the meaning is like, it's time to enjoy yourself, even for just 3 minutes. Just let the music take over, and remember a time when maybe you were a kid driving around at the beach or whatever you'd be doing in the summer. And that's where that song happens, from that point, from wanting people to feel good for a little while.
A little while, yeah. Well, and you mentioned the pandemic, which is interesting because I think that's partly why maybe that song touched me in the way that it did. Is after going through this pandemic, which I like to refer to as like this long winter of hell.
Yeah.
We still haven't really gotten back, I don't think, into the feeling where it feels like summertime-ish. It still feels
No.
like we're a little bit closed in.
It
And
does.
so when I heard your song, it was just like, it really grabbed me. If you don't mind, I'd love to actually give that a listen. Let our listeners listen to that.
Sure.
Yeah, Mac, can you throw that up? "Sun in the Summertime." I really love this song.
Walking down the street, I see it everywhere. Summer's already here, and we're feeling fine. Drive around in the vest with the top down, and turn the radio up. It's 2 up tonight. In the sun in the summertime. These are the good times. In the sun in the summertime. Everything is so fine. We'll shine every day. Surf's up, way up. We're catching a wave. Lying on the beach in the sweet summer air. Sitting around the fire, singing hey, yeah. Everyone's having fun, living life without our care. In the sun in the summertime. These are the good times. In the sun in the summertime. Everything is so fine. We'll shine every day. Sun in the summertime. Everything is so fine. We'll shine every day. Sun in the summertime. These are the good times. In the sun in the summertime. And everything is so fine. We'll shine every day. Shine every day. Let it shine every day. We're gonna shine every day.
Yeah, I can't pinpoint what it is, but there's just something about that song that makes me just happy. It makes me feel better. It makes me feel happy. So thank you for that song. I really Like I said, the first time I heard that, I felt that there was something deeper. It didn't. I did catch the hint of the Beach Boys, which I loved. I love the Beach Boys as
Yeah,
well. But
yeah.
there's definitely something else in that song, and I can't. And it frustrates me because I can't pinpoint what it is exactly. But it just, first off, it did, like I said, it made me happy, and I also recognize that there's something deep. Maybe I'm just crazy, but to me, there's something a lot deeper in that song that moved me that I can't really put my finger on, and that's what I love. I love it when I get
No
that
question.
reaction from music.
Yeah, I'm really glad. I mean, that's really makes me happy to hear that you felt that way, because that is absolutely the intent. I mean, some people might listen to it and just think, oh, it's just frivolous, and it's, which is fine too, but it really does come from a deeper place. And like I've got friends who write great lyrics and great songs, and like it's like I've just got this little summer song, happy song, but that's okay, because say the idea was just to kind of let's feel good for a little while. I mean, I'm not saying I'm going to change the world, or this song's going to change the world, but maybe it'll change the mood of someone who listens to it for a little while. And it's just I think it harkens back, like again, it does reflect my adolescence when I was listening to the Beach Boys and listening to all those songs of every summer. You probably remember, like there was one or two songs that were big songs in the summer, and I felt like it's just me, or if that hasn't happened really in the last, say, 5, 6, 10 years. So again, like that, like yeah. So I just like, well, I'd love to write one. I always wanted to write a summer song, and it might be the right time. It's, say, coming out of the pandemic, and just wanting to feel good, and not making much more of a statement than that, but coming, as you say, from a little bit of a deeper place.
Yeah. And I love the title of your album, California, too, because that's very Beach Boys, right?
Yeah, totally.
So I love the title.
And yeah. Well, it's so there's 4 songs on the EP, and the reason I called it California, because it reflects my time when I lived there. I lived there from starting in 2013 till about 2018. So every song on the EP was either inspired or written in California, or co-writers are in California, or it's all California based in that sense. And there's a lot of stories behind each of the songs. So I felt like I needed to kind of put a mark on that particular time period of my life, and put it together as a little collection. The other 3 songs were released over the pandemic, and I felt like as singles, they weren't on an album. And I felt like it didn't really feel like a good time even to release any music. So they're giving a little bit of a second life combined with this new song, and it's all related to California. So I think that's pretty cool. I like stuff like that. It's all relatable.
Now, did you write this album, or did you already sort of during the pandemic, or did you already sort of have this music and you just released it during the pandemic?
Yeah. So basically, let's see. We released. We released. I had demoed the songs before the pandemic. One was released Hello Again was released just before the pandemic. And then the other 2 were in various forms of demos. So we produced Walking Away and Right Here. That was done. That was actually all recorded in California way back in 2015. So I've had that in the can for a long time. Put it out as a single, a little regional single, didn't do much, height of the pandemic. I didn't even promote it very much, but I always felt like maybe there's another home for it. So I feel like, I'm going to write a summer song. It's all again, my experiences in California have kind of been the people I met there. I felt like I wanted to kind of put that into this song as well. So yeah, these songs had been kind of brewing for a while, and they just found this little home on this little thing called California.
Talk to me about what it felt like when you made the billboards.
Oh my God. Well, I've been pretty fortunate in Canada. We have a thing called CanCon. So before I made Billboard in the U.S., I had a couple of songs that did chart in Canada, very, very luckily, because they tend to promote Canadian talent. So that's an amazing feeling. Every time, I was asked this the other day, another interview I was doing, do you still get the feeling when you hear your song on the radio, the same as the first time? I said, yes, it's amazing. But when you see your name on the Billboard, the classic, iconic Billboard name, it's special. I mean, especially as a Canadian artist, Canadian independent artist, charting, I think it was like number 32 on the Hot AC chart in the US. For me, that feels really good. That's a really a feeling of accomplishment, and not so much to brag about that I did it, but the fact that many people heard my song. That's cool.
Well, right, and you have a right to brag. I mean, that is a huge accomplishment, and I don't know. I think it's a testament to your talent. It's a testament to the message that your music carries. So I definitely, I think it's a brag-worthy accomplishment. I mean, and again, congratulations on that, because I mean, that is, like you said, it is a huge accomplishment. I don't think many people, with the Billboards, you tend to get a lot of the same types of artists that get on these charts, and you don't really see new artists or independents. And that's what I really want our listeners, and I suppose viewers, if you're watching our live stream, to understand, is that for an independent to make the Billboard charts is an extraordinary accomplishment that's not just handed out. And I'm sorry, I'm forgetting the name of the song. My American Girl was the song that reached the Billboard.
My New American Girl, that's correct, yeah.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we do not have that to play, but it's a wonderful... it's just, again, all of your music really reaches across a divide for me. Walk Away, for instance. Mac, can we play Walk Away? Do we have that one? Of course, I can't hear her, but there we go.
Trying to avoid this in my head, the noise is like a choir of voices singing out your praises, but I know what waits is gonna taste like poison. My head and my heart disagree, it's killing me when I'm with you like this. I wanna stay, but I should be walking away. From the start, it's over. Leave me to be sober. Make the high seem lower. I don't want to need this. You're my strongest weakness. I might not recover. My head and my heart disagree. It's killing me when I'm with you like this. I wanna stay, but I should be walking away. I should be running in the night. Let my demons pick a fight. It might be wrong, but it's so right. I'm wide awake, but still I'm dreaming. Trying to avoid this, gonna taste like poison. My head and my heart disagree, it's killing me when I'm with you like this. I wanna stay, but I should be walking away. And my heart disagree, it's killing me when I'm with you like this.
You know, the reason I was kind of surprised when you said that these songs were kind of pre-pandemic was because "Walking Away" felt like a song like walking away from the pandemic.
Yeah,
When I first heard that.
yeah. You know, it's amazing how
And
sometimes you can write something and then it's years later it becomes relevant. I mean,
yes,
it's an interesting story, that song. I had a demo done around 2014, and then I when I started living in Los Angeles, I met a guy named Michael J at a party in Hollywood. It was a Grammy party, but it was a private party. Michael, like, I didn't realize at the time, but he's like, it's some big songs. Like, he's had cuts with Celine Dion and all kinds of cool artists. And
wow.
he wrote "Toy Soldiers" by Martika. It was a #1 Billboard hit in 1989.
I remember that song.
Yeah, really great song, actually. Anyway, so I was brave that back in those days. It's like saying, you know, like, I'm this newcomer to, I don't know anyone. Would you like to write a song? And he did with me, and he came up with those lyrics. I had the "Walking Away," and he came up with the lyrics. So it was kind of, at the time, the meaning was, you know, you got to realize something is not good for you, but you got to get away from it. But it's hard to get away from it because sometimes you're getting something out of it too. You know, it's kind of like, you kind of like staying home in the pandemic, but Jesus, you know, you're not really going out and seeing people anymore. It's like wow. So it's relevant to that, but it could be about drug abuse. It could be about relationships,
bad relationship.
Yeah, but it's nothing about. It's not specific. We want to make it that way on purpose, so people can kind of own it themselves and their own interpretation. And then I think you're right. I think as the pandemic came up, I think it became relevant.
Like an anthem, yeah. Yeah, that's why, again, I was so surprised when you said that was something that was actually pre the pandemic, because to me that felt like that was exactly the right song for that. You know, just walk away, run away, get the hell away from it. And I still kind of feel like that, like we're just still in this, like it just will not go away. It wants to just kind of linger on. Although, like you said, venues are now starting to open up again. Live music is starting to happen again. And I really think that during the pandemic, one of the glue that kind of held a lot of stuff together was music.
Yeah.
I really do. I really believe that. I think that's got a lot of people through that difficult time. Because, I mean, that's really all you had. I mean, you had the television and stuff, of course. But again, music is just the vehicle that can transport you to a place that you need to be. In a way that nothing else can.
True. That's so true. And I have a lot of friends and contacts in the radio industry still. And I was talking to a number of program directors at the time, during the time, and they said a lot of people are it's very nostalgia. So music was very big, but not necessarily new music. It was nostalgia music, because I think what it did was it soothed people. You know, my childhood, everything was normal back then. It's not normal anymore. Yeah. So they went back to those tunes. And I think that was that for me, that was going back to the Beach Boys and going back to that stuff, listening to this stuff while thinking about maybe writing a song. So there is a comfort in music, as you say, that when everything else is going crazy, you know, you can kind of come back to that.
Yeah, you could. It's strange because you can almost find the silence that you need from music. I know that sounds weird to say, like silence from music, but it can take you to that place and give you what you need in a moment. And that to me is just extraordinarily powerful. And to be able, for an artist like yourself, to be able to pull that off, right? To create something that does that. I mean, to me, that's just magic. It's almost like you're like a wizard, because I can't even imagine trying to do something like that myself, right? I mean, the depth of writing a screenplay is easy. Writing a song is like writing a screenplay that happens in like 3 to 4 minutes.
Well, I would respectfully disagree with you in the sense that, like, I can't write a screenplay. It's not easy for me. It might be for you. So I think if we're all experts in our own realm, and I think that you're right. I mean, music, you have to be very concise, especially if it's any sort of a pop pop song,
Yeah.
there's a real craft to writing pop music. A lot of people don't think that it is, but there really is. And I come from like
Oh yeah.
bands like the Raspberries and Badfinger, really cool power bands like that. Really smart writing, and I feel honored to be able to even touch that. Like I feel like, but I can touch upon it in my own way, and it's touched me in a certain way, and I felt that. That's a reward for the songwriter, and
Yeah.
obviously
Yeah.
you want a big audience, you want as many people to hear your music as possible, but it's just as rewarding when one person tells you it, for sure.
Well, and that's the thing about you too, is part of that authenticity is that I don't get from you that, and I don't want to say this in a bad way, but I don't get from you that you care that there's a big audience. To me, it feels like you just care about getting the music out there.
That's true, and I used to really care. I used to really, really care about how I was presenting myself, how I looked, how like I really cared about that at first. I had to learn, and I think it was again kind of like a renaissance period right around 2007, 2008, where I came really into myself, and I was kind of just getting into a late blooming stage of my career, or what I would consider that anyway. And I felt like I read, there's a band in Canada called Triumph, and they're hard rock bands from the 80s, very good musicians. Rick Emmett's the singer and guitar player. And I read something about, he wrote something about connecting with the audience. And he said, once you go on stage, you got to let everything go. You can't think about yourself. You can only think about the audience and let the music flow through you. And for those were really powerful words for me, that I even wrote them down, and I read them occasionally, even before I go on stage, to remind myself, to get myself out of myself and just think about, what I'm putting out there. And then you start like, well, I mean, all that's important is the music and the connection of the music, and that's all that really is important,
I want to ask you about that too, because now people might think this sounds strange coming from me. I mean, here I am doing podcast and radio show and everything like that. But there's a huge difference, I think, between doing that and getting up on stage and performing in front of a live audience. Because for me, coming from that background of being bullied and manipulated, I wanted to be invisible. The last thing that I want to do is be in a crowd. And to get up on stage, I mean, holy God, the courage that takes, especially after coming from that childhood experience. How did you do that? How did you find the ability to do that?
Oh gosh, it was hard. I mean, I think it's more bravado than anything else, and it's almost like, I think for me, it was like trying to prove to all those bullies and all those people that put me down and told me I couldn't do it, I can do this. And as uncomfortable as I feel, and as hard and nerve-wracking it is, I'm going to go up there and I'm going to try to even show that it doesn't bother me, that and after you do it for a while, and you have those awkward moments, and you forget lyrics, and you do all this other stuff, it does start becoming easier. It's never easy. Like I whenever I think of myself as it's just natural. I've got to really work at it, and so it's never easy, but it becomes easier. And again, when you start focusing less on yourself and just focusing on letting the music flow through you, that was a big game changer for me. So it got my mind off the self-awareness is what you're talking about, and that really helped a lot.
Wow. I hats off to you, because there's no way that I could get up on a stage in front of 5 people, let alone an entire stadium full of fans. But no, that does go back to kind of what we started at the beginning, is that, it gets easier, but a lot of these challenges that we have from our childhood, they still linger on. I mean, I imagine that you probably get very anxious every time you're about to get out on stage. I mean, so that lasts and that kind of stays with you. But oddly enough, like you said, it's also a source of inspiration and a little bit of that bravado, because it does inspire you to want to kind of, I don't want to say prove to other people as much as prove to yourself that no, those kids were wrong. They didn't know me. They don't know me now. They didn't know me then. And I want them to know me now for who I am. So it really is kind of proving something to yourself more than anything, I would imagine.
That's true. I mean, that really is true. And I think that you proved, like, if you take on a challenge and you accomplish that there's a confidence building in that, you know. It's scary to do it, and it was scary to move to the US, and it was scary to start all over again. It was a lot of scary moments, you know, when you're in the arts. I think it's even scary as perhaps a writer like yourself, like you're writing these things, and then you're putting them to someone else to read, and if it's going to be actors reading the lines or whatever. So I think it's all the same thing, and it just with performing, it's the actual, you're putting your face to the work, and you know, there's a joy in performing too. There's actually, like I said, I didn't take drugs, but there's a high you get when you're on stage, and I think that I was able to get that early on and realize that's a really good feeling, and I like that feeling, and I'd like to have that more. So I think that's a natural drug, you know, a natural release of endorphins when you're on stage. So that really does play into that as well. But again, I think that, you know, being creative people, we tend to be maybe a little perfectionistic, and we
oh yes,
you know, like every little word, whatever it is, and is it okay? And it's like, you know, it's a struggle, but it's not a bad struggle. You just have to be aware of what it is and what's driving it.
Yeah. Well, and again, I think, you know, both of us share this desire to make a difference in the world through whatever abilities that we have. And I think that stems a lot from that childhood experience as well, is first off, knowing that kind of pain, knowing that emotional turmoil, having that anxiety, and not wanting someone else to go through that, and knowing that there's someone else out there that is going through that, and having a real desire to use whatever skills you have, whatever talent you have, whatever ability to make a difference and help somebody else. Now, with music, I think that's a lot easier to do than with any kind of screenwriting. Although, I mean, you can do a movie or a TV show that highlights these issues.
Yeah.
But I think music has, as a childhood, one of the things that got me through a lot of my struggles was listening to music. It just provided an escape. That and reading books, you know, just activating the imagination and getting lost. It wasn't TV or movies for me as a child, because that to me that didn't take you anywhere, right? I mean, it was visual and audio, and it was pre-structured. But with music or reading, your imagination kicks in, and you interpret things in a whole different way. And it really does provide a release, I think, you know, a safe place, if you will. And so and again, I have no musical abilities whatsoever, unfortunately. So, but I have a deep appreciation for music, and, you know, and I love artists that, well, I love anybody that goes out there and makes a difference, but I love it especially when artists who have a platform, you know, like yourself, that say, you know what, no, this is not just about me. This is not just about, you know, making money. It's not just about releasing records. It's about doing something that makes an impact. And by God, I think you've certainly accomplished that in spades. I really do.
Thank you. I think, you know, I feel a sense of accomplishment, but I feel I'm on the journey. You know, I'm still telling my story and telling that story. And, you know, like when you're talking there, I thought to myself, you know, wouldn't it have been nice if when you and I were growing up, whatever, there'd be people like you and I talking about this, and that would have made us feel like think more like to belong and feel good about ourselves. The power of media.
Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, I look at Lady Gaga, for instance, and the work that she's done. helping, gay, lesbian, the LGBT community, especially kids.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I mean, my God, can you imagine? Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. I mean, what was the song that she did? Lady Gaga, my memory's racing, but she did a song that was specifically became kind of the anthem for the LGBT community. Hair. It was Hair. That's it.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I saw a music video of her bringing a young boy up on stage. And, this was a boy that very much like ourselves was struggling with issues and sort of being bullied and harassed. And here's Lady Gaga saying to somebody, look, kid, you matter. You matter and you're important. And don't you let anyone tell you something different. I mean, forget just that one kid, but imagine all of the other kids out there listening to that message and seeing that and saying, you know what? Here's someone that's a megastar telling somebody like me that they matter. Maybe I matter too.
Yeah.
You don't get more. I'm sorry. You just don't get bigger than that when you reach out and one simple act is all it takes to kind of trigger that, like the pay it forward effect. And so, yeah, I do. I think that you're absolutely right. I mean, had there been somebody out there, during our time, but yeah, you didn't talk about this issue. You didn't even talk about being bullied. You just kind of hit it and went away.
Stuck it up.
Yeah.
And
it was painful.
People didn't want to hear about it because it was either complaining or being a whatever people would call you down for it. And now thank God, people are like Lady Gaga and other, very well-known entertainers are reaching out and saying, hey, I feel this way and it's okay to feel this way. And, you can be accepted, but, unless you fell into a very kind of a specific box, growing up, you're outside that box, you were like, kind of rejected from the group. And
absolutely,
it has a big effect. So I'm encouraged really in the last 10 years, I really am encouraged what's happening with the arts, the arts in general, and these types of positive messages that are coming out. And, I hope to continue that journey as well, with music and getting the message out that people, I want people to feel good and be aware. Everything's okay, everything's okay with you. It's okay to be you.
Absolutely. I want to play, looks like we're running out of time here. Unfortunately, that's always happens. But I want to play Hello Again. And then when we come back from that, I want to talk about your latest, your upcoming release, because I'm very excited about that. So if we could do Hello Again. There we go.
Hello again. Hello. Just called to say hello. I couldn't sleep at all. but I just couldn't wait. Hello.
I'm telling you, I've listened to your for the past it's been at least a couple of weeks. I've been listening to your music almost nonstop. I just I love the variety too, because every track on this is different. It's hard to kind of pinpoint a genre, but it's very different and very unique. I mean, like we went from the Beach Boys to I almost want to say, do you know who Ben Broussard is?
Yeah, I think I've heard of that artist.
Yeah, he's the last song that we played really reminded me of Ben Broussard for some reason. I can't pinpoint why, but it just had that kind of feel to it. And this song has sort of I almost want to say a John Denver-ish type of vibe to it.
Yeah. There's, I guess you could. It's funny how people interpret it, but that's cool.
Yeah, it's just really fascinating. So that brings me to you got an album coming out next month, the 7th, is it, or the 7th or the 9th?
Actually, this is California. It's out today. This is the release date today. So we're celebrating it with you.
Oh, today. Oh, for God's sakes! I thought it was next month.
No, it's today. So that's all good.
Oh, yay! Yeah. How is the reaction been so far to it?
Well, the first we released "Sun in the Summertime," which is on the album, the EP, about a month ago, on purpose to kind of build some interest. And the song itself has been getting very, very good response, like kind of like what you're describing. And so far, I've had kind of the same response as you. Like, it's a very eclectic album EP, and the songs are all a bit different, but there's a fabric that bonds them too. There's a fabric that is me, the chameleon, which is me, I guess, is there, and there's that core. And I think a lot of people seem to really be digging the music, and I'm very, very grateful for that. So it's all good.
I'm just still trying to imagine like a month off. I think just feels that way for some reason. Actually has just sort of whizzed by, really. And this year, and I've lost track when it is. It's just kind of living in scary times, but it's fine.
It's been really fun to be here with you, man. I'm really enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you'll come back. And what are your plans for the future? I know that you just released an album, but what's in the future?
So we have a music video of "The Sun in the Summertime" coming out on June 21st, which is the first day of summer, and we shot it on a beach, and it's got a lot of retro footage, vintage footage from the 50s and 60s, and intertwined with the new. So that'll be released, on my YouTube channel on the 21st of this month. And then I'm doing some shows in the Atlantic provinces here where I live.
And where? The album.
Sorry?
Oh, I'm sorry. Where were you doing the performances at?
In Atlantic Canada, where I am now. So in Nova Scotia and New Brunswick, I've got some shows in the summertime here, and then I'm looking at doing some. Hopefully, I'll get down to the U.S. in the fall. Maybe do a few dates down there, and just try to
Washington.
That'd be nice. I have a co-writer in Seattle, actually. His name is Johnny Douglas. He co-wrote a song with me on my Christmas album. So. Yeah, I have a connection there.
See? So come to Seattle. I'd love to see you live.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I'd love to, actually. And that may happen.
Oh, perfect. Well, please keep me in touch. And again, I really, really hope you'll come back. I want to let you, where can people find you? And again, for those who are listening or listening to this that's not live, we're going to put this underneath in the description. We're going to put all the links, social media. But real quickly, for those who are listening, where can people find you? They can find you on iTunes, Spotify.
Everywhere, yeah. And jonmullane.com. All the links are on my website. So you just go to my website and you'll find all the stuff. It's all there.
Well, again, thank you for being so gracious with your time. Thank you for joining me. You know, we're a small program here, and to have someone like you on is just a real thrill.
I love it. I loved it. It was really good.
Great. Well, we're going to go ahead and close out with Right Here. And again, thank you, Jon Mullane and Jon Mullane. And
Jon Mullane. You got it.
We'll be here next Friday, but there'll be a rerun playing. But this is Right Here, Jon Mullane.
Trying to make a living, I'm tired, I'm done, I'm driven. When I just want to be there with you. When I feel my world is falling and I can hear you calling, you're making me believe that I'm gonna make it here. And everywhere, now that you're right here. And everywhere, I dare, I dream, a letter, a life that's so much better, but only when I'm dreaming with you. And as I just go and live, and I'm taking what you're giving me, everything I need, and I'm gonna make it here. And everywhere, now that you're right here, you're everywhere. It's time for me to see the truth and all the special things you do. There's no one else for me, just you, only you. Everywhere you feel so near, and I